It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Huge game at home for the Nashville Predators tomorrow, continuing their homestand at Bridgestone Arena, hosting the Edmonton Oilers, tonight, not tomorrow, a 7 p.m. puck drop as the Preds hold the first wildcard spot in the Western Conference with a 1-point advantage over Dallas. Major League Baseball, the Atlanta Braves are on the road for the first time tonight. First pitch at the San Diego Padres is at 7:10. ESPN's preseason FPI Top 25 is out. 9 SEC teams made it in. Tennessee is not one of them. Of course, top-ranked Alabama, the defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs, in at the number 3 spot. Auburn making the top 10. Mississippi State and Florida also getting into the top 25. One former Tennessee quarterback has officially found his new job, as Adam Schefter reports this morning. The Browns have officially signed former Steelers quarterback Joshua Dobbs. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up, everybody? It is. It's toasty in the studio today. So I hope everybody's okay from the storm last night. I found part of a Christmas tree in my yard this morning. That's a true story. Found part of a Christmas tree. I looked out in the backyard and asked my kids, "Can you guys see that?" And my daughter said, "Dad, it's part of a Christmas tree." So anyway, I don't know what you found. I was driving down sort of the main road that leads to my neighborhood and saw a trampoline out in the middle of the field wrapped around a telephone pole. So yeah, hopefully you secured everything last night. It got a little crazy, apparently so crazy that we had some issues here at the radio station. So we're on the air. We just, the air conditioner's not working.
Yeah,
so that air is not working.
Yeah, so if you hear random noises, people walking by, talking or anything like that, we have to have the door open to get a nice little breeze going through here. I'm interested to see during the break if I can try to open that window, but I don't think that window can open. Man, it sure looks like it'll be a nice breeze coming through that window, even if it's not a screen up there.
Boy, that would be excellent to open that window right now. That sucker, and that thing ain't never been open.
But, not complaining. We'll survive. Yeah, man. I'm just glad everybody's safe. It was, as Mickey, our meteorologist, Ryan, told us that it was going to be a little bit of everything, and it sure was. Boy, man. I was like, dang, what's going on? I felt like my dog. What's going on around here? Man, electricity going out, TV flickering, lights flickering. I'm like, I got to turn on my phone to see what's going on.
Yeah, it came on all right. Hey, you're going to get to do something on this radio station that you will probably never get to do again.
What?
You have relevant to this market Ball State news. Go ahead and make the sound.
Well, all I know is Ball State is playing Tennessee this year. That's about it.
Yeah, there's some news on this, right, Lucas? Here we go. Ball State news that involves Tennessee.
What?
Football season just got 2 days closer. Tennessee football's official Twitter account putting out that Tennessee will host Ball State on Thursday, September 1st, to open up the 2022 season.
Tennessee and Ball State, September 1st on Thursday.
On a Thursday
that's not breaking
night.
news. I knew that 3 years ago.
Well, I know you knew.
They just moved it up to
Thursday.
Thursday.
They moved it to Thursday.
The date was moved, right.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Thursday. Let me tell you who is unhappy about this. A crap ton of people who now can't go to the game.
Oh, yeah. That'd be
because it's on Thursday.
This is what they did last season as well with Bowling Green.
Yes, and I said at the time, you know who's upset about this? A crap ton of people who can't go to the game now because it's on Thursday. Now, there'll be some people who just say, screw it. My kids can just miss school on Friday. We're going to go to the game. But Thursday games and Tuesday games are a way of life for the Ball States and Arkansas States of the world, but not for the Tennessee Vols.
Well,
they play on Saturday.
They'd be like, we don't need to be there. We know we're going to win anyway. But, hey, Ball States know they're going to collect that check that they get too, though, at the same time. So, yeah, Thursday's for the SEC is pushing it to the limit. Your Fridays, you may get away with it because they said they weren't going to compete with high school, but that's kind of changed too as well. Man, Yeah, so they had to get it all organized for TV. I'm assuming it may be on TV. It may be not.
SEC
Network.
Okay, SEC Network.
Yeah.
That's all the games they try to get them on. But I didn't know just because they were playing Ball State, there was no need. You had to go like stream it online or something.
Thursday, Tennessee fan, you happy about that? Here's the thing: if you're going to watch the game on
Probably
TV,
don't care. It's like, oh crap.
if you're going to watch it on TV, it's fantastic because you're like, hey man, I can watch it on Thursday night after work just as easy as I could watch it on Saturday at 11 or whenever. Well, 11 our time if that's when it was going to be on. But for people who go to the game for season ticket holders, it's a kick in the pants because. I mean, the game starts.
It's a good one to sell your tickets and then to
Sell
make
them.
some money because people are going to say, hey, I'm going to go out of my way. This may be the only opportunity I get to go to a Tennessee game. Maybe, whether you selling or giving your tickets away. So, but I'm sure some of they are perturbed. Have they ever moved an SEC game to a Thursday outside of something horrific like a pandemic?
SEC on SEC.
Right. Like on a Thursday where it's like Alabama playing Tennessee or Florida playing Tennessee, anything like, has that ever happened?
Not that I can ever remember.
Yeah. And usually an SEC team would only play the first week of the season on a Thursday just to put the game on TV.
Oh,
Like
maybe
this.
that's the reason.
Yeah. Because SEC Network's like, hey, man, it's going to be some Thursday games. We got to have one, too. So they just start drawing straws in the league office like, okay, who's going to play on Thursday night? Tennessee and Ball State. Call the Ball State.
Yeah, well, a
team.
lot of Tennessee people may leave at halftime, but that's okay.
From Heupel's perspective, it makes sense, too. You're going to have more eyeballs playing on a Thursday night than on Saturday while Georgia and Oregon are playing or during the Utah-Florida game or Cincinnati-Arkansas. A lot of big matchups that always happen week one. Tennessee-Ball State's not exactly one of them.
I don't know if it was his choice though. Here, I think it was more semantics. Here, do you think it was more his decision here? I thought it was more just semantics on scheduling and everything.
Yeah,
else.
probably more of a network deal, but I
Right.
imagine he's fully in favor of it. I mean, they did this last year, too. I could easily see this being something with recruiting, just whatever opportunity you can get to get more eyeballs.
It's good TV eyeballs.
Yeah,
It's
no doubt for TV. I'm right there with Lucas because you may be the Lone Ranger.
Well, that's why MAC teams and Sunbelt teams play on Tuesday and Thursday because that's when we can get on TV. That's when we can get the spots on TV that are normally taken by the Power 5 schools.
I had to think about when I'm going to drive. I may leave at halftime from my house and then get there right there by the end of the game.
You're going to need a couple tickets for that one at least.
No, Lucas got me a couple tickets, man.
I don't get those student discounts anymore.
Oh, well, you still know some students, I'm sure. He's got the hookup down there with some media people.
Did you still have to buy tickets as a student at Tennessee, or did your athletic fees just cover your tickets?
No, you bought tickets, but it was $10 a pop. I mean,
Okay.
Right, they make them cheaper.
Yeah, a lot of SEC schools don't quite do that. Like I know at Auburn, you have to pay like $300 or something to get a certain package of games, and you get to go to these
Mother.
4 home games.
Okay.
And you get to like pick and choose your packages. But at Tennessee, it was like week to week. You just kind of submit your basically application for a ticket that week, and then if you get it, $10, you're in.
The old A-State, you just showed up, showed them your ID. Come on in.
Yeah, that's just like that at the Cardinals church.
Have a good night. Enjoy the game.
School ID, you in. We welcome all guests.
Anybody and everybody.
Yeah,
However
we
you choose to enter, come on in.
Watch this. We try to fill up this 25,000 seats.
Yeah, us too. Us too. Yeah, they did some renovations to the stadium. I said, look, it's fine if y'all want to shrink the capacity of this thing. Feel free. It was 33,000. I said, make it less.
What is it now
I
at
don't
Arkansas
know-
State?
I don't know what Ball State's is.
There's a whole new press box. There's a whole bunch of they made all new sky boxes.
I think you have to have a certain requirement now, or you would have had to go to Division I AA. There was a time that happened.
At one point you
So
had
I
to.
think you had to be over 35.
It was
See?
it was over. It was either 30 or 32 because we were
okay.
33 and we were good. When all of our teams went Division I, they opened up a window and all the MAC schools and the Sunbelt schools were like, oh, wait, we could be Division I too. Like you said, there were these certain things, thresholds you had to hit. And one of them was, I think your stadium had to seat 32,000.
Yeah, you may be right because we filled in at Ball State. I contributed, filled in one of the end zone, and we left the other end zone open, and it looks like you at the Parthenon with the beams, 4 beams, and everything else, and people laying out like you're at at the park, laying on the grass and watching the game. So that's pretty cool too. And they, naturally upgraded the visitor side to watch this, not high school, seating to, regular seating.
Most of our visitor side is a metal bench. Most of it is a metal bench.
Yeah, they just upgraded the metal benches.
Yeah, we still got the metal benches. I was in school when the metal benches were getting built, when all the regulations came in place.
Uh-huh.
So they did the math, and they figured if they put 3,000 seats in one end zone, the other one's open, and added a second deck, then you could just say however many you want that is. And they said that'll get us there. And it's all metal, every bit of it, all of it, the second tier of it. And that thing, before they have to ground them. They have to be grounded.
Oh, really?
One afternoon, we had an electrical storm while they were working on that thing. It probably got struck by lightning 13 times. We were counting, and it was like, wow, over and over. And they got that sucker grounded the next day.
Did you get that, Lucas? Well, how about you do that?
Yeah, I don't think I can make that.
How does that go?
Yeah. I can grab that.
I don't think I could ever make that noise again.
Where were you when that happened?
I was on
knowing that how scared you are of the weather.
I was in the place I lived on campus watching it strike the football stadium over and over. Watching through a window. Yeah, because I did not want to be next.
I wouldn't be watching, because if I saw lightning last night, I would have been up under something to protect me, man, at the lowest level I could go.
Lonzo says Murray State doesn't even have seats for the visitors. They sit on a hill. I used to be a TV anchor in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and Western Kentucky at that time only had half a stadium.
Oh, yeah.
The other side was just open. Yeah,
I remember that. My former high school teammate, when he became the coach, they expanded the stadium, David Elson.
I remember Elson.
Yeah.
We crossed paths.
He's at Purdue now.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
He's a nice dude. He was young when he got that job.
Yeah, he was real young, because he was a DC for a couple years. Then he became head coach. And I told him, hey, man, you about to be the transition coach. He was like, no. I said, well, I'm telling you. Yeah, once they expanded that stadium, they're going to turn the corner. And, boy, was he perturbed. He loved it in Bowling Green. Mm-hmm.
I was there when Jack Harbaugh was the coach. Yeah. So, and Elson took the job right after, but I think he was on the staff maybe my last year. I knew him. So, yeah. And I remember thinking, boy, when he got the job, this dude is young to be.
Did you know he went to high school with me? No, you didn't.
You told me before. I didn't know at the time, but you told me before they did, because I brought up his name one day. You're like, that's my friend. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He comes in town every now and then. I meet him for some lunch. Yeah, he's doing really well, man. Great family. Yeah, he was actually also my backup in high school. Yeah, he's a year behind me.
Okay.
For what position?
Well, I played cornerback. Yeah, on our defensive side. Yeah, he was cornerback. But we had some injuries, and so I ended up having to move to safety my senior year, like halfway through. I was not happy about it, but we tried to put the best players out there. And so that's when the hitman started. I started hitting people, and that's when he became my backup. His other brother started with me.
My gosh.
He was a senior.
Okay.
Brad Elson.
Okay. Whatever happened to him? Is he still in the football business?
I think he went to Butler, and he stopped. No, he's he's got his own company.
Okay. Oh, he's doing all right.
Yeah, they typed him dudes.
Let's get Michael at Nashville real quick on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Michael, thanks for calling Blaine and Mickey. What's up?
Hey, Mickey. I mean, it's a perfect time for the Vols to play, because that's Labor Day weekend.
Oh, is it?
Well, there you go.
And that's Labor Day weekend. Ain't nobody gonna work Friday anyway. They're gonna get all the spotlight. All eyes will be on the Vols.
Oh no,
no, that's perfect.
Yeah, I agree with you from the TV standpoint, for sure. Thank you for the call, and that's
kind of what Lucas said.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that. Yeah, no
I mean,
doubt.
you get all the TV eyeballs in the world. It's just tough for some people, because not everybody gets Friday off.
Talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be here doing a radio show, so not everybody gets off on Friday. But I do get it that
Oh man, I may have to take off that day.
I bet we'll be here.
I'd at least got to be present. Chase will be present there on the sideline. In good spirits.
Well, that'll be your shortest commute for a game this year.
That may be my only commute.
Blaine's son plays for Ball State. That's what we're getting at. Tony Pauline, I don't know if he was Blaine's high school teammate, but he knows football. A lot of draft stuff with him. Tony Pauline from the Pro Football Network set to join us next. We got questions. He's got answers.
I want some air.
Yeah. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. You hear Led Zeppelin, you know that means we got Tony Pauline on. He is a football guy. He is a Zeppelin guy as well. Tony, how in the world are you doing today?
I'm great, but to be honest, you got to flip those around. I'm a Zeppelin guy before I'm a football guy. Even though football's 12 months a year, Zeppelin's 24/7 for me.
Amen to that, for sure. All right, let's just favorite Led Zeppelin song, favorite Led Zeppelin record. These will be easy for you, but what do you got?
Favorite Zeppelin album, hands down, Physical Graffiti. One of the greatest albums ever pressed to vinyl when they still pressed vinyl. Favorite song, I'll surprise people. Last song on side 1 of Zeppelin 3 called Out on the Tiles, which is an outstanding song. I heard it when I was young, and it's always been my favorite song since.
I know Out on the Tiles. Physical Graffiti as well, too, man. That one still, well, like a lot of their stuff, it just jumps out of the speakers. It still sounds fresh today. That's hard to do something like that, and they did it. Who is the Tony Pauline Pro Football Network at Tony Pauline on Twitter? So let's skip from Zeppelin to current fastest riser in this draft. What's the name you're hearing the most of somebody who could really jump up draft boards, maybe that we haven't been looking at?
Well, I mean, it's Taekwon Walker. Now, people are starting to become familiar with him because I've been writing about him a lot at Pro Football Network. I wrote on March 25th that the Jacksonville Jaguars are considering Taekwon Walker with the first pick of the draft. Other outlets have finally caught on. I mean, here's a guy that people thought, maybe picks 9 to 12, and he's ranked as the top player on a lot of boards. Taekwon Walker out of Georgia. He was a terrific player in an outstanding Georgia defense. He did what was asked of him, and then he went out and blew up the combine. So I think it's the perfect mesh of a younger guy who's a good football player, a great athlete with tremendous upside.
How many quarterbacks do you have a first-round grade on? I'll ask you that. And then the second part would be, how many of them do you actually think will go in the first round?
Yeah, the answer is the same for both. It's 3. I mean, I have first-round grades on Malik Willis. I have a first-round grade on Matt Corral. I have a first-round grade on Kenny Pickett. Now, the 3 quarterbacks who could be selected in round 1 are Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, and possibly Desmond Ridder, although I've got a second-round grade on Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati.
Tony Pauline, our guest, Pro Football Network, hanging out with Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Tony, I'm going to ask you a question. It's not really related to actually evaluating players, but maybe you know this off the top of your head. Has there been, over the last, let's say, decade, any quarterback that went 15 and after in the first round that's had success in the National Football League?
Well, the last decade.
I could think of some off the top of my head, but
I looked that up. I don't know that.
Right, because I could say Aaron Rodgers was not the last decade, but
right. I mean, it's still a little bit early, but Mac Jones was
Jones.
What I believe the 15th pick,
15?
And he's had some decent success early on.
Mm-hmm.
I would say
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there you go. Lamar Jackson, without a doubt, from 2018. Remember, Deshaun Watson was a 12th pick of the draft. He wasn't the 15th, but he was the 12th pick of the draft.
Okay.
I mean, Jacoby Brissett's had some success. I don't think you would consider him a great success. Derek Carr was a second-round pick in 2014.
Yeah, I was just talking about first round, though, because I was trying to figure out if it's a trend. If you go after 15 in the first round as a quarterback, how much success? And I was thinking about the Titans. If they took a quarterback with 26, what are the odds that you have success with your quarterback potentially being your starter and, over a long period of time?
Well, I think the flip side of that is how many top 15 quarterbacks have turned into busts, because the argument there is the quarterbacks are ridiculously overdrafted by usually a round to half a round. Okay. They're taken much earlier than they should be selected. So, what you're saying is true, but I think you also got to factor into that equation how many top 15 picks at the quarterback position the past 10 years never amounted to a hill of beans.
Right. That's what I was getting at. Tony Pauline, NFL Draft Analyst, Pro Football Network. And with that being said, who do you have the Titans taking at 26?
I'm leaning towards Tyler Smith, the offensive tackle from Tulsa right now. He's a big athletic guy. He's he's got a tremendous amount of upside. He's an outstanding athlete. I think he fills a need for the Titans. He's a guy that, You could start off at guard, and then as he develops into a tackle, they have a need there. Obviously, they missed on Isaiah Wilson a couple of years ago. I think Dylan Redunds, he's more of a natural guard than he is a tackle. You could kind of get 2 for 1 if you take Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith plays your right tackle position. You kick Dylan Redunds into guard, and you really improved that right side of the offensive line.
Oh, wow. Tony Pauline giving us the business. I guess I hadn't heard of this kid, but I'm sure you have. And that's this long cornerback, Joshua Williams from Fayetteville State. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3"-ish. Where do you see him in this draft going?
I have him as a day 3 pick, but there are a lot of teams that have third-round grades on him, as I reported earlier this week on Pro Football Network. Like you said, he's a long guy. He's got terrific size. He's a solid athlete. Still very rough around the edges. Had a few good moments at the Senior Bowl, but then there were times where he was just beaten badly. I think with Williams, it's a situation where if you draft him third day or if you draft him third round, you're going to use him in dime packages and special teams as a rookie and hope to develop him, a year or two down the road.
Oh, okay. Well, sticking with the cornerbacks, the kid from Houston, and I really like his toughness. He's just his size. Kind of give me his measurables. I think it's Marcus Jones. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Marcus Jones is probably the one you're thinking
yes,
of.
That is.
He's barely 5'8". He's 174 pounds. I think I have him right now as a 4th-round choice. Actually, a 5th-round choice. So he could go earlier. I think Marcus Jones, you're looking at a nickelback special teams player, return specialist at the next level. So he does bring that added value, which is going to help him on draft day and should help him as a professional in the NFL. Did have labrum surgery in the off season, so hopefully that's usually a minor issue. He should be ready to go. Really zipped up draft boards. There's a guy who coming into the season, scouts thought maybe priority free agent, and now he's in the middle of the draft.
Yeah, I really like this kid. I just think I like his toughness, but I know size doesn't play a part. But I saw him go against one of the tall receivers there in the AAC, the kid Pierce from Cincinnati. Where do you have Pierce going? And I saw him go toe-to-toe with him, and that guy's like 6'3", 6'4", right?
Yeah. I have Pierce as a 3rd-round choice. He's a guy who made a lot of eye-popping receptions from Desmond Ridder, who sometimes throws the ball all over the place. He's got reliable hands. He tested well at the Combine, Pierce, who checks in at 6'3", 211 pounds, ran a 4.41 at the Combine, jumped, I believe it was like 40.5 or 41 inches in the vertical jump. The thing about it is he doesn't really play to those numbers. He's a good football player who tests well, but shows a little bit of stiffness in his game, not a great route runner. If you can coach Alec Pierce to play to his athleticism, you're really going to have something down the road.
Cool. We're on with Tony Pauline, the NFL draft analyst, Pro Football Network.
It's been interesting watching the estimations for Traylon Burks. I've seen like a 10-spot swing or so from where people think he'll be taken. What do you think about him? A lot of Titans fans really like him for here.
And I think that's probably a good spot for him if he's going to go in the 1st round. He is a late 1st-round choice. He's a terrific pass catcher. He's a terrific person. But the fact is this, he's not a real good route runner, and he's not fast. And people look at the highlights, and they salivate, and they say, that's great. But the fact is this, you can win out for the 50-50 ball, the contested passes, more times than not on the college level, and you can look real good. When you start playing football on Sundays, you got to find ways to separate other than just physically beating down opponents. You got to be able to separate through your routes. You got to be able to separate through your speed, or you're going to have limitations. And that's where Traylon Burks is right now. He's probably the 6th receiver that's going to be selected off the board. Some teams do have some late 1st-round picks, so, that would be a consideration. He slots right in there. I think when all is said and done, he's probably better off in the early part of round 2.
Well, could you compare him to my guy who I like and I want the Titans to take is Christian Watson to Burks?
Yeah, Watson, I think Burks is a better pass catcher. Watson is a much better athlete. He's a little bit taller at 6'4". He ran in the low 4.3s during the combine. He had a tremendous pro day workout. I think Watson's a little bit like Alec Pierce in the sense that you got to coach him to play to that speed. You got to teach him to basically be the athlete on the football field that he showed himself to be, during combine testing. Has had some problems with drops in the past, although he caught the ball exceptionally well. Christian Watson. When all is said and done, I'd be surprised if Christian Watson is a first-round pick. I have him as a second-rounder. Teams I talk to all feel he's a second-round choice. It's not that they don't like him. It's that there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road, and it could be a bit of time before Christian Watson is really ready to perform on a consistent basis in the NFL.
Tony Pauline, our guest from Pro Football Network. So let's say the Titans go O-lineman. You mentioned Tyler Smith as a possible target. They don't pick again until 90. What does the receiver class look like, Tony, as you get towards literally that part of the third round, maybe into the fourth round?
Yeah, I know that I'm hearing that they would love to have a guy like Calvin Austin, who's I know is on the other side of the state from you guys at Memphis. I mean, a smaller guy who's exceptionally quick, runs great routes, catches the ball very well, but he's small, 5'7.5". I don't know that he's going to be there at 90. But still, I mean, you're going to have guys like potentially Jalen Tolbert of South Alabama, potentially Khalil Shakir of Boise State, Romeo Doubs of Nevada, who I grade as an early fourth rounder, who was Carson Strong's favorite receiver. That's a guy there. You're going to be able to get decent receivers, through the third and fourth round. Danny Gray of SMU is another guy that a lot of teams like. And then there's always Taekwon Thornton of Baylor, long, tall, thin guy, 6'2.5", 181 pounds, caught the ball reasonably well, ran 4.28 at the combine. But again, he's sort of in that Alec Pierce, Christian Watson mold in the sense that, he's got to do more than just run down the field and catch the ball. He's got to develop a route tree.
Got Tony Pauline on talking a whole lot of draft stuff from Pro Football Network right here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, let's stick with that third round here, Tony, and I'm talking about more so tight ends, and I want to start off with a couple of them, but you can give me some other ones. The Ruckert kid from Ohio State, as well as the Virginia. What's his name? Jelani Woods.
Jelani Woods, right?
Yeah, from Virginia. We can start there, but I don't know where you have them graded. But that's what I was kind of thinking in that third, fourth round.
Ruckert's got a foot issue. I've told everything from a Lisfranc to a fracture in his foot. Nothing's been officially said, although he was wearing a boot at the Ohio State Pro Day, which I pointed out. Ruckert has got a lot of upside. Ruckert coming into the season, a lot of people thought was going to be a second-round choice. They had the change at quarterback at Ohio State, and the new quarterback, C.J. Stroud, really wasn't looking towards guys like Ruckert or Chris Olave all that much or as much as he should have. So I think he's going to be there late third round, and if you get the Ruckert we thought we were getting coming into the 2021 season, it would be a steal. Jelani Woods is sort of he's a work in progress. He looks like he should be on the basketball court playing power forward. He's so big. And then he ran an exceptional time at the combine, tested off the charts, but he really doesn't play that. He's a little bit big. He's a little bit stiff. Somebody's going to overdraft Jelani Woods, and it could be in the third round. There are some teams out there that have Jelani Woods as their second tight end on that position board. But the thing is you got to teach him the block. You got to keep him in line. He's got to be more productive as a pass catcher. I think with Woods he's a phenomenal athlete that has to learn to be a tight end. I don't think he's a day one starter. I think he's a guy that you're going to kind of spoon feed into a lineup and help try and develop his game.
Well, I know you talked about the quarterbacks. But Ritter, I guess I want you to kind of go through in his evaluation in comparison to Matt Corral, and where do you have him graded? I know you said Ritter second round, right?
Yeah, correct. Now, I mean, Ritter, he's a big guy. He's got all the physical attributes that you want in a next-level quarterback. He did a lot of winning at Cincinnati. He found the end zone, protected the ball. My concern with Desmond Ritter is the accuracy. And I'm not talking about statistical accuracy. I'm talking about pass placement, because whenever you watch Cincinnati, you talked about Alec Pierce before, constantly leaving his feet to catch the pass, constantly adjusting backwards, to catch errant throws delivered by Desmond Ritter, which leads to a loss of opportunity, oftentimes missed wide-open receivers through a bunch of bounce passes during his pro day. That is a major red flag for me. Corral, in my opinion, is much more accurate. He does a great job placing the ball where only his receivers can make the reception, or as a lot of people like to call today, throwing receivers free. He does that on a much more consistent basis. Obviously, Ritter is a bigger, stouter quarterback compared to Corral, who has that ankle injury. And again, Ritter played in an NFL type of offense at Cincinnati, where coming out of Mississippi, it's that Lane Kiffin wide open type of system. So the learning curve is going to be a little bit steeper for Matt Corral.
What do you think about Corral and his body build? Is it built durable enough for the NFL? I know that's been some questions with the injuries that he's had. I just don't know enough about him.
Yeah, well, the injuries that he had were basically an ankle injury, which he re-injured, and it was because I think Matt Corral, to his own detriment, runs like a tough interior ball carrier on those design quarterback runs, or when he leaves the pocket to take up the field. So I think he's got to learn to kind of be a little bit more disciplined, go down, slide feet first rather than try and grind it out. But you're right. I mean, the body type is 6'1.5", 212 pounds. I prefer my quarterbacks to be 6'3", 220, more than the Desmond Ritter size, 6'3.5", 220 pounds. But, you look at the NFL, and they don't mind the smaller quarterbacks these days, right or wrong. I mean, whether it's the Kyler Murrays, whether it's, some of these smaller guys behind center that are nimble and agile, they seem to not mind that.
Well, okay, two more receivers and one locally here, I guess, from Tennessee. It seems like he's rising up the boards. That's Velus Jones, and the other kid is the Texas Tech, I think, receiver. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Asakim or something like that.
Eric Ezukamna. And if I can't pronounce it, I can barely pronounce it. That's not a good sign because I could butcher the name Ed. So, but yeah, Ezukamna. I mean, he's a bigger sort of possession-type receiver that wins out for the contested throws, doesn't have a big route tree. I have him as a late fourth, early fifth-round choice. Solid pass catcher, but again, sort of in that Treylon Burks mold where he's got to find ways to separate at the next level. I really like Velus Jones. I mean, he had a good senior season. He was terrific at the Senior Bowl. I have him as a third-round pick, 5'11.5", 204 pounds, ran a 4.3 run at the Combine. I think he's a good receiver that has a tremendous amount of upside, and his best football is ahead of him. And Jones is one of those guys, came into the season without a draftable grade, but from scouts, and just watched his draft stock take off with a terrific campaign and an outstanding performances in the pre-draft run-up at the Senior Bowl and at the Combine.
Well, with Tony Pauline, NFL draft analyst.
Tony, on the way out, I know a big part of Pro Football Network is just kind of tapping into your connections, things that you're hearing about players and teams and that kind of thing. Any Titan stuff before you go that you're just kind of hearing that you find interesting on the way out about this draft, or anything for that matter?
No, well, it'll start to clear up next week, because what happened was draft meetings just ended last week. The boards are being assembled, and I think what will happen is as you move through the middle part of next week, more and more information will come out. So sorry to disappoint you, but no Titan-specific information as of right now.
No, that's all right. People just need to check you out again at Tony Pauline or Pro Football Network. Always tons of great content, tons of great information, and we'll get you back on again sooner, man. Always good catching up with you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Tony Pauline right there.
Good stuff.
Blaine came up with a question that was interesting because of where the Titans are drafting, and there may be a quarterback available, as we just discussed with Tony. What about guys who go in the back half of the first round? What typically happens with them? I found a list.
Quarterbacks in the late round.
We can look at some of those names next. Uh-oh is right.
Front row.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. So Blaine did a little, I don't know. He's been pulling in the parking lot lately with these draft stories on his mind. And you sent me a message and said, let's look into quarterbacks taken between 15 and 32.
Yeah.
Just,
In the first round.
you had a bad feeling.
Yeah. I had a bad feeling that history tells you that most of those guys don't have a ton of success in the natural league. But I didn't know if I was right or not. And then through your research, which I don't know what your research is telling me, I just brought it up as a topic just to kind of discuss in the green room. I don't know. So give us the news because I could be totally wrong on that. Because I mean, someone on the chat line here, Lamar Jackson definitely went second. But to me, he was kind of an exception. Exception to the rule because he shouldn't have went that late. That's just no way that was supposed to happen. I mean, everybody kept wanting him to play receiver, and he was a quarterback, and he proved he could throw the football, and it just worked out well for the Ravens. But he did go 32nd or where was he? He was the last pick of the first round.
Lamar, yep, he was the last pick of the first round.
He's one of them. If you want to go way back, we can talk about Aaron Rodgers. We can talk about Drew Brees went second round. But I'm not talking about second round, more just all first round, 15 and after, 15 to 32. Because there's a reason why a lot of teams had doubts. Now, it could be also, they didn't need a quarterback. But when you have a franchise quarterback, sometimes you make exception, especially if your quarterback is just a solid quarterback and not an elite quarterback. So when you go, after 15, I think there's a lot of questions. I was just wondering how many of them worked out well in the league. So give me the good or bad news.
Okay, I went back to 2012.
Okay, that's good.
So you said go back about 10 years. It's 2022, so 10 years. We got any theme music to roll under this or anything, Lucas? List reading? I know we're putting you under the screws here. That's what Buck does to poor Lucas. Just anything, a little music to throw underneath it. So here's what we're looking at. Quarterbacks taken in the first round, pick 15 to pick 32.
Over the last 10 years.
It's a quarterback conspiracy.
Nice. 2021, Mac Jones taken at 15.
Which Tony Pauline mentioned. I didn't think about him.
He mentioned him, so he's the most recent.
Mm-hmm. Mac Jones' success.
So Mac Jones is a starter for the New England Patriots. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go from there. 2020, pick number 26, Jordan Love.
Nope.
He is never going to see the field in Green Bay as long as Aaron Rodgers is there. Okay. Pick 2019, pick 15, late great Dwayne Haskins, Washington Commander skin team football. 2018, pick 32. That's Lamar Jackson. He's sort of the gold standard. Okay. Now, this bus here runs out of gas. 2016, pick 26, Paxton Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is he's no longer around.
So 0 for 2 on the 26 picks.
That is true. Thank you, Jordan Love and Paxton Lynch. Nice call, Lucas. Pick 2014. There were 2. 22 in 2014, pick 22, Johnny Manziel.
Oh, no, I called that one. Even I said he was a third, fourth round pick.
Yes.
Everybody kept saying he's first round pick. I said it the whole time on air, every single day.
Pick 32 was Teddy Bridgewater, Minnesota Vikings.
Still around?
Pick 32, still around, journeyman.
Okay,
I had to look at the list 3 times to catch this one, and that's what I was doing when we were coming back on. 2013, pick 16, E.J. Manuel, Bills.
He's doing broadcasting now.
Is he?
Yeah, at Florida State. Remember him, great college player.
And going back
Buffalo
10 years.
Bills, right?
Buffalo Bills. 2012, pick 22, which is where they always seem to pick a quarterback because that's the same place they took Johnny Manziel. Brandon Whedon, Browns. So here are your quarterbacks taken since 2012 between pick 15 and 32. Mac Jones, Jordan Love, Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace, good sir. Lamar Jackson is the anomaly here. Paxton Lynch, Johnny Manziel, Teddy Bridgewater, E.J. Manuel, Brandon Whedon. So Mac Jones could be a guy. Certainly great start. Yep. Started as a starter, if that's the way to say it. As a rookie. And Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, Mac Jones, and I'm going to even give an asterisk by Bridgewater. So, he's a borderline starter, He's definitely a great backup. So, yeah, man. And
Three
so-
of the 9
and
are either
one's halfway Bridgewater, right?
2.5 of the
Serviceable.
9, because Bridgewater is a quarterback who stays on NFL rosters.
Oh, it's not 10 years because we haven't had this big draft yet.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's to me that's a trend. So there's question marks about their ability, not to say that they won't have success. I just couldn't recall in my mind anybody going 15 and after besides Lamar Jackson, who stood out over the last decade, because that's the trend. Tell you over the last decade what the league is doing and where it's going. All these shorter quarterbacks, passing offense, so more receivers, more playmakers. So you say, okay, about the quarterbacks, then you start looking at the wide receivers. Can some of the shorter wide receivers, and when I say shorter, I'm talking about like 5'9", 8, 7, as much as they've had success at the Power Fives, can they have that same success in the league in the first round?
Yeah.
Because you can have success, but, in the second, third rounds, but are they valuable enough to have success in the league as a first rounder? And every year there's always an exception to the rule. Last year was, I would say, Waddle, which he was 5'10". So he was a great returner too. So and most of those guys that went out, like Rondale Moore, who would have guessed? I mean, I kept saying I thought he was a second, third round guy just because of size and all the things that he did at Purdue, which were exceptional.
Yeah.
I just didn't think he could do that in the NFL. And what made me really close the door on that, which he's an exception, he's still a real good player, and he can have been a 1,000-yard receiver in that offense potentially, is I think they played Tennessee in a bowl game. Or no, it was Auburn. Who did they play here in the Music City?
It was
Purdue.
Auburn when Purdue just got blown off the field.
Who was it? It was Tennessee, was
It
it?
was
my
Auburn.
earphones aren't working, so.
Auburn.
Yeah, so
That was the game where Gus Malzahn got like re-energized at the end of the year and said, I'm about to call plays in this bowl game, and they just destroyed them.
Purdue. Right. And he kind of became, with all the length out there with the SEC, he was just a good player there. And so that was giving me signals that he could still just be a good player, but is he first round player in the National Football League? And I started then having my doubts, and then naturally he had the injury history, but he's an explosive player. And so then you go down the list of the kid at Kentucky that was drafted by the Dolphins and traded to the Raiders. I don't even know if he's in the league now. That was just 2 years ago. Who played quarterback? He moved into quarterback the year at Kentucky.
Lynn Bowden Jr.
He was like a third-round pick, but
Lynn
he wasn't
Bowden,
the first
yeah.
round. Lynn Bowden, right? Who was I wouldn't bet money on. I think he went third round or so that he would have success in this league, especially at that spot going in the third round. Yeah, just okay. So it's tough. But if the league continues to evolve and becomes a more throwing league, I think those shorter guys are going to start being a little more prominent in the league with better quarterback play as we started with 15 and after the first round.
I went back just to make it 10 years from guys currently playing. Nobody went. That was the Jake Locker, Ponder. None of them. Ponder went 12th. He was the last one to go.
None of them went after.
None of them went
15.
after 15. So that's it for the last 10 years. 2.5 of the 9. You want to weigh in on any of this, you can. Hour number 2 coming up. Lots of draft talk. You can jump in the discussion, 615-737-1045. And we put a question out on Blaine and Mickey. Is there anything absolutely you say no to at 26? Could it be one of these smaller receivers? Could it be a quarterback? Do you not want another tackle? Is there a specific position group? Whatever it is there something you definitely do not want at 26, no matter what? Let's get into that next. Blaine and Mickey.
It is 2:02. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Green Bay Packers are signing former Ravens wide receiver Sammy Watkins to a one-year deal worth up to $4 million, according to Adam Schefter. And also the Seattle Seahawks bringing back quarterback Geno Smith on a one-year deal worth $7 million. That courtesy of Ian Rappaport. Tennessee football with some breaking news about an hour ago. Football season just got a little bit closer for Vols fans. Tennessee will kick off the 2022 season on Thursday, September 1st, against Ball State in Neyland Stadium. The game will be televised on SEC Network. Big game tonight for the Nashville Predators as the homestand continues, hosting the Edmonton Oilers. Preds hold that first wildcard spot in the Western Conference with a 1-point advantage over Dallas. Puck drop tonight is at 7 p.m. And the Atlanta Braves hit the road for the first time in the 2022 season at the San Diego Padres, 7:10 first pitch. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, I remember him. Clemson, right?
Yep.
First rounder.
Yep.
Was he one of the first rounders from there? No. He's been in the league a little bit.
2014, he was the 4th overall pick to Buffalo.
Was super talented.
Taken before DeAndre Hopkins. They played together.
6'1", 211. He spent 2014, 15, 16 with Buffalo. Then the Rams in 2017.
Did he play with the Chiefs one year? No.
Then 3 years in KC, 18, 19, and 20. And then last year he was in Baltimore.
Dang, he's been in the league a minute.
He has, and been on some teams. But he had 1,000-yard season. That was his second year in Buffalo. He caught 60 balls for 1,047 yards.
That's pretty good on 60 catches.
Yeah, 65 catches as a rookie is the most catches he ever had.
Injury issues. Was it like to his foot or something?
Yeah,
kept coming back. Yeah,
played 16 games, 13, 8, played 15, played 10, played 14, played 10, played 13 again. What'd you say, Lucas? The breaking news: 1 year, $3 million,
$4 million for Sammy Watkins.
1 year, $4 million.
Yeah, my man, and your man Geno Smith is 1 year, $7 million.
Yeah, Geno Smith got a 1 year, $7 million deal to go to the
backup quarterback.
1 year.
Well, he may end up being the starter.
He'll compete for that job.
Yeah, so that's probably why he got that kind of money. And that it made me think about it. And I said it initially when it first happened. I know everybody laughed at me about bringing in Baker Mayfield as the backup. Now you make Cleveland Browns, since you got him by, in a bad position here, you make him pay pretty much all of his salary. Just to, you pay $3-4 million for him, and I don't know if you give up what do they have, 2 6th-round picks or whatever they got? Give him a 6th, 7th-round pick. They pay most of the salary. You pay him $4 million to be a backup. You get in a tough crunch, and something happens to Tannehill, you got your guy. But you also can learn some leadership skills, do's and don'ts from Tannehill, because I know everybody's talking about him going on this, whatever. I don't know if it was a podcast, but he was sitting around too casual, talking like he was talking to his friend. And first of all, you shouldn't be saying anything. You shouldn't be even on that and going down that road. I think he's a good guy. I think what makes him really a good player is that he's always had his back against the wall and been questioned about his talent. Then he goes first overall. Then he was, is he a bust? Is he really a starting quarterback in this league? He's always trying to prove something. But you got to take a step back when you are speaking publicly about it and what has happened, because I don't know if I actually think that hurt him to a certain extent, and not in a bad way. It's just that he doesn't understand the game of how it's played in the National Football League. You are a commodity. And did they tell you some things? Yeah. Oh, play injured, you're tough, and you do okay. We're going to give you a new contract. I'm sure that's what he's referring to. Mm-hmm. And they did the opposite. So you need to keep your mouth shut. Speak kindly of them for the opportunity, and then move on. There's nothing good going to come out of that, because guess what? Some of those coaches may end up being somewhere you're at down the road. So I just thought he handled that, and I think that's just who he is. And so he has to understand who he is and what his weaknesses and strengths are as a person. And it's great for a competitor, but when you're speaking publicly, sometimes you just don't go there. It's no different if, Lucas gets fired tomorrow. You're like, oh, man, they treated me like crap. No, for what, man? It was a great opportunity. I got a lot of experience, and you know what? It's time to move on. Obviously, it didn't work out there in the end. And that's all he needed to say about it, and then keep it moving.
Right.
But his competitive nature felt like he got screwed, so he voiced that over the air in a nice way. But still, you can't say it. I think most GMs wouldn't just like, we're just not going to bring him in unless we get him for the bare minimum. Mm-hmm. So in my eyes, I think the Titans got guess what? This is John Robinson all day. Value. Mm-hmm. You got a first overall pick, whether you think that have happened or not. It did. So you got to say he's a first-round quarterback, and we got one as a backup, and we only pay him $3 or $4 million, and we only got to give up a 6th or 7th round pick. I'll take that all day. And then we groom him, and maybe this guy can now be our bridge guy, just like Tannehill was for Marcus Mariota. Mm-hmm. And that's how you got to view it. And we're not saying we're coming in and starting. It's we're going to see what we got here. And if it's nothing, guess what? You didn't give up very much. You got to steal.
Lucas actually has the Baker Mayfield appearing again podcast. His dog was asleep on the couch next to him.
Oh, that was hilarious on his back.
Belly up.
Man, that didn't look like he was comfy.
Oh, these are the words that he said. He was disrespected.
Right now is like, I really, truly, honestly have no regrets of my time in Cleveland, of what I tried to give to that place.
Right.
And true Clevelanders and true Browns fans know that. And that's why I can walk away from the whole situation feeling like I did it.
And now, do you feel like the way the office has handled it has been disrespectful to you, given where you came in and where they are now? And
the respect thing is like it's all going to be like a personal opinion.
Yeah,
like,
and
I feel disrespected 100% because I was told one thing and they completely did another. That's what I'm in the middle of right now. And you know what? Okay, I got my taste of it because I've had 4 different head coaches in 4 years, a bunch of different coordinators. I've had, talk about the highs. They always come back.
Mm-hmm.
They always come back.
Yeah.
But I had great times my rookie year. Like I didn't start in the beginning. I came in and got to have fun the back half of the year. 2019 sucked. 2020 was great. Made the playoffs. 2021 was miserable. It's like,
yeah.
I'm just looking for stabilization right now, and I know what I need to do for me to be the best version of me.
Right.
And to be able to lead an organization. And I'm in a good place right now.
Right.
To where I have no clue where I'm going.
What was the name of the pod, Lucas? Do you have it? So
You never know what's the name of the podcast.
You never know. Want to make sure that we credit
some
them.
good things in there too. But you just, he tried to throw him under the bus. Everybody knows the history of the, quarterback, coordinators,
Coaches.
Yeah, but it's almost like you're trying to build in an excuse of what happened. And I, I like Baker Mayfield in just that I like his grit and grind. He may not be the most talented quarterback, but some of those same things that makes him really good are also his weaknesses. And I just think you need to stay away from having comments about, in a negative light about what happened. I mean, that goes on. Welcome to the NFL. It just typically never happens to a quarterback. And for everybody who says, oh, you may tweak Tannehill if you bring in Baker Mayfield. Well, guess what? Welcome to the NFL with all the other players and how they feel. If he gets tweaked by us bringing in a former starter, he wasn't going to be our guy anyway. Mm-hmm. That's how you got to look at that. I want him to rise up and be even better. That's what I'm doing. So that some people were like, "No, you can't do it." No. He should be secure in who he is and that what he can do on the football field, and it should be no issue at all.
I think one of the interesting things about the Baker, the whole piece with him is his option got picked up, and it's $18.8 million.
Yeah, right. That's why I said if the Titans only have to pay $3 or $4 million of that and make the Browns pay for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what they did with Tannehill.
Sure did. Dolphins ate some of Tannehill's money to send him here.
Right. And what pick was, man, it was some low number. This guy started in the league for numerous years there.
Is it a fifth rounder?
I don't know, man. It may have been. But you could do the same thing here. I think they got him right. Not unless somebody gets hurt in training camp or one of these OTA.
It's a 6-rounder.
6th-round pick, yeah. So I'd do the same thing with Baker Mayfield. Yeah, sure enough, I get a steal. And guess what? The Titans got a steal and great value.
Okay, here's the total details. Ryan Tannehill and a 6th-rounder to the Titans for a 7th-rounder and a 4th-rounder. That's what they did. So a 7th and a 4th for Tannehill and a 6th.
Oh, I wouldn't give no 4th for Baker Mayfield. I give him a 6. That's it.
And here's the thing.
The reason why, first of all, the message that the Browns sent as an organization signing Deshaun Watson to a guaranteed contract. If I'm in the league, all the other owners, I'm a little perturbed.
Yeah.
Not just the outside the football, but you gave him a full guaranteed contract. Guess what? You're setting up for expectations for all the rest of the guys. So I'm pissed off. So guess what? We're going to hold you to the fire. You pay most of his salary, and we'll give you a 6th-round pick and be happy about it. That's how I would roll against the Browns.
And
because they got nothing. They got nothing. He can't go anywhere. Well, then let him sit at home and make $18 million then.
Yep.
Okay. That's on you. I know it's not going to bother you at all, but, man, you won't get something, don't you?
I mean, wouldn't you you have to call today and just say, hey, here's what we'll pay, and you have a 6th-rounder. We got 2 of them. You can have 1 of them. Here's what we'll pay you. The rest is on you. You want to get rid of him or not? How long you want him making podcasts and griping about your organization with his dog on his back? You want that? You guaranteed the other guy the most in NFL history. They just signed Josh Dobbs.
You know it's not going to stop because he keeps going on social media. He went on
He's
social media.
He's going to keep on until he goes somewhere else.
Yep. And he needs the way Baker was talking. He act like like his talent is worldly. That's kind of how he was talking. Like in his mind, he believes, hey man, I'm a franchise quarterback. Well, there's still some doubt to that. I know you started. You did well one season, up and down other seasons. So can you solidify that you are a productive starter? Even went to a playoff game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
2020 took him to the postseason.
Yeah.
Did he lose in the first or second round?
They lost pretty quickly to the Chiefs, right?
I thought they beat Pittsburgh?
I thought they won one game. I can't recall. But what I was about to say is he has one more victory than Derek Carr.
He's 0-2.
Hey, and by the way, I think can the Las Vegas Raiders get out of his contract after 1 year? Somehow they can get out of his contract a little bit early. It's pretty much a 3-year deal. There's no trade clause in it, too, by the way. And I think they can get out of it sooner than later. There's some options there, but maybe we have to have show.
No, you're right. Like the dudes who look at trades later on, the Cappy type guys are saying, oh, no, they can dump him now. This makes it easy. Like next year.
Because they only gave him like $7.5 million sign-a bonus on this upcoming season. And I was like, well, dang, that's low. When you look at the $121 million 3-year extension, like, well, let me dig a little deeper. So I was trying to make sure I was reading it correctly. But he did get some things in there to get some security and actually gave him a break here or there. But, in totality, it's still a $40 million a year contract.
After 2020, Cleveland beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs.
Yeah, I
and
remember
then
that.
they lost to Kansas City. They only lost 22-17 to Kansas City, but they
It was
did.
a close one. Yeah.
He was 21 for $34
That was
in that game.
at
Baker
his best.
3 touchdowns he threw in that game.
That was
No
at his
picks.
best.
Yes,
Dude's
it was.
his quality now. He just needs to get back on the right track. He can learn some things from Tannehill too, by the way, and how to handle and what should and should not be said.
Mm-hmm. Tannehill don't say nothing.
Yeah, right. But to make
Even
sure
on locker
also you
cleanout
own
day.
up that you need to show up the next day, though.
Yeah.
But he in Tannehill's mind, he thinks, well, I interviewed right after the game. I gave you all you want.
Yeah.
Only thing that was missing, I would have been cool with that if he just had ownership to take blame for what happened in the game. And not just his interceptions. We lost because I need to play better.
Yeah.
Period. That's all the great quarterbacks. We can go down the ones here, McNair. I mean, we could play horrible on defense and we barely lose, and the offense put up numbers. Barely, rarely happen. But and he would say it was his fault. Much respect, man. Hey, that was on us. That was on us. This game.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. Sorry, that's why you get paid. Some of the parts of being a franchise quarterback and getting a big dough is taking the blame, even though it's not your fault.
Let's get into a little more draft discussion on the other side. Some of you responded to this in the Zone TV chat. Is there a position? Is there a player? Is there something you definitively do not want the Titans to do at 26? We'll get into that and more next on Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. So what would you not do with the 26th pick? Like, you could speak to John Robinson. Like, they have an open phone line, and he says, I'm going to take phone calls from fans today. I'm going to take your advice. Boy, wouldn't that be something?
Great. I'll be the one to answer the phone, too. I'll do that. I'll volunteer.
You know, like country singers sometimes get this thing where it's like, text me at this number, and you can it's not their phone number, but that you can text it. I've seen several different country singers do that. Oh, you got something?
Yeah, real quick.
We got
before
breaking
you do
news?
That, no.
Oh,
I want you
okay.
to name the year here.
Oh.
We're going to do this every day, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll just throw it in every now and then. Yeah, I like it.
I know it's Wings.
Well, you know more than I do. They can fly.
I have this album. I have it on vinyl.
Oh, now you're trying to go look.
That's the name of the album, right? Band on the Run.
Band on the Run, which is funny because the people on the cover, like Paul McCartney and his wife and one person made the whole album, and he's got like all these different people on the cover of the album. Christopher Lee, the actor, is on the cover of the album, like they're a band on the run.
I've only been over a couple of times at your house. I mean, do you play like records and stuff?
On Saturday morning, a lot of times,
I'm trying to buy you some time so you can think of that.
we get up and we'll play records and like jam to the records. Even the dog likes them. The dog gets down. Coco the dog loves to play records.
Gets down. Huh?
Gets down.
Be boogie doogie.
This dog loves to play records. I think dogs just like it when their humans are happy. We start playing the music, we all get happy, and the dog gets happy.
Moving around.
Oh, you can rabble with me or just get down, man.
So you got the year yet?
I'm going to guess and say 77. Lucas is on the phone, so I'll give him a second. 77 is what I'm going with.
That was Greg on the line there that wanted to throw out the answer. He didn't want to be on the air, but the answer is 73. Greg said 72 or 73.
Oh, Band on the Run, that's right. It was way earlier
73.
than that. I've completely lost it. Yeah, I have a newer pressing of the album, but thank you, Greg. That is right. See, sometimes I'm way off. I went on a stretch where I got them all, and now I'm not getting anything.
On fire.
I was on fire. Now, I mean, I missed Talking Heads by 2 years yesterday, and then I completely blew it on the Wings.
Well, speaking of fire, that's what some people are going to be. Their heads are all going to be on fire if John Robinson takes what, Mickey? What does the consensus say? What position group do most people not want the Titans to take?
Brett said in the Zone TV chat that Sue Ann says 73. Thank you, Sue Ann. You were right. How could I miss that? That's a bad miss. Brett says definitely not a linebacker, meaning an inside linebacker.
Inside linebacker.
Which
some people have in the mock drafts.
5 of the 30 mock drafts had the Titans taking an inside linebacker on Jim Wyatt's latest list. Lonzo said linebacker for sure. He also said, I don't want an O lineman, but they need it. He said, or a quarterback. I don't want that at all. Let's see. Deborah says no defense except a cornerback. Don't draft a 5th-round player in the second. Well, you're in luck, Deborah. They don't have a 2nd-round pick. Let's see what Corey in Hendersonville has to say about this on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. What's going on?
Not much, Mickey. And by the way, don't be too hard on yourself. That was over 40 years ago.
Well, I should know better when it comes to Wings,
He
though.
set the bar, man.
And it was more solo stuff for Paul, obviously, later. I don't know why I was thinking that was later than what it was. That's a bad miss by me. I was up late with all weather anxiety. But what should the Titans not
Baker
do with
Mayfield.
26? Yeah, save me
I'm
here.
going to tell you exactly what I think that they should do. I think they need to trade back. I don't even want to see them pick in the 1st round. Get yourself a 2nd-round pick, and I don't know what kind of compensation you can get in addition to trading out of the 1st round, hopefully like a 3rd or a 4th, but I'd like to see them get some extra picks for day 2.
Corey, what I found was from a few years ago, the Patriots traded out of 23. They switched spots in the 1st round, and they got a 3rd-round pick to switch spots in the 1st. Is what they got.
Ooh,
they got a 3rd.
Get a 2nd. That way you get one. That'd be interesting. How badly do they want to move up, and who is it for, and who's trying to get them?
So Corey's answer is a pick for what he
He
does not
literally,
want.
his thing to not do it 26 is pick.
Yes.
I'm not opposed to that, though. What do you guys think? I'm not opposed to it. I mean, to be honest, I think you're going to get maybe, late in the 1st round, you're probably going to just get a little bit less athletic player, but you're still going to get a really good player. And John Robinson's had success in the second round. First round, not so much.
Yeah.
With his picks. Or let's say this, they don't stay here forever. Rashaan Evans.
Went through that yesterday.
Jackson. Yeah, I mean, we can go down the list.
Corey
Isaiah,
Davis,
Panda.
Jack Conklin.
He was a good player.
Yeah.
But they don't stay. So if they're not going to stay here and be with the organization throughout the majority of their career, then let's move back and get us a second round pick, and maybe you pick up another third. You have 2, 3, third round picks in the second. Because can you get the guy you want that you're thinking about taking that late around in the second round early? So it depends on who you're trading with, too.
Yeah, and just not having another pick until 90.
So that's a long.
So if you think about like all these wide receivers that you guys tweet us and tell us that you want, you're not getting any of those guys at 90. None. They're all gone. Yeah. And all the old linemen that people are projecting to the Titans, guess what? You're not getting any of those guys at 90. None of them. Nobody.
So will that make the Titans stick there at 26? To say at least we're going to get a high-level quality starter on our team. I think looking at everything about this team, they almost have to take an offensive lineman. But I think he's unpredictable.
Deborah sent this to us on the Zone TV chat.
I won't receive her.
And I essentially wrote down the same thing in my notes today. This is funny. This is what Deborah Hare, she said, the big questions. Is Farley healthy? Can Raiden start? Can they draft speed wide receiver in the first round? And then she kind of goes on from there about J-Rob and an offensive consultant. But she's talking about all these unanswered questions. And I kind of put a bunch of those questions in my notes today.
Well, here's what I can say to that while you look for your answer here, and that is you cannot think – you have to think the opposite with Farley, that he won't be ready.
Yeah.
You must think that way. You have to, and that's why you signed Buster Screen, I think, to buy yourself time for a veteran player, and maybe hopefully he is ready to go when the season starts, but if he isn't, so you have to think that way. What was the other question?
Is Farley healthy? Can Raiden start?
And that's the question I keep asking.
And that's
people.
Puka, by the way.
Do they believe he's a starter in the National Football League? And what made me say that? Soon as Vrabel said he needs to get in the weight room and we don't know where he's going to be at. Well, wait a minute now. Hold on. He had an entire season to get in the weight room. He wasn't playing, so wear and tear was not involved in this. He should have been getting bigger and stronger with the weight program during the actual season. And coming to this offseason, you should be feeling like he's going to be much improved with his strength, balance what's expected. We hope to plan that he can compete to start. And I don't know if he said that part, but then that would have told me that they're thinking highly of him. Mm-hmm. When they keep saying he's guard or tackle, that means you're not really sure what he is at this point in time, and that's not good. That means you're telling me he's a backup in this league.
Yeah, that's just a swing guy. Yeah. Is a guard. That's a guy who's multiple things.
Can he start for 3 or 4 games? Yeah.
Right.
But is he the dude? And it doesn't seem like they believe it. I don't know if they're underplaying him and just not make sure he keeps working or what, but second-round pick, man.
You got to go. Start.
Man.
I mean, you need to be starting. There needs to be no question by year 2.
If I'm the GM, you guys tell me. I go talk with Ray. We got to put him out there. Feast or famine. We got to see what we got. I took him in the second round. We agreed to take him. Put him out there. This is how conversations go. And sometimes he's not better than the guy. The guy that's showing in camp, like, hey, man, he's not bad. Well, we're invested in this guy, though. So let's see if he can get there. He's not far. Let's just see what happens. And sometimes it comes out on the better side of it, and the player is just a gamer. When he gets in the game, he plays solid, and you go, okay, he did better than we expected. Let's keep him out there. I think that's where you're going to get to. If not, he's going to be a career back. If he doesn't start this year, sorry, that was another miss.
Yeah.
And what tells me that that's a possibility, he wasn't even dressing.
Right.
He wasn't even dressing.
And remember, there were people hurt and not playing, meaning like the 5 that were playing and the couple that were hurt He was like 8 or 9 in the rotation at times.
Yeah.
He was
And
8 or 9 in the rotation.
Then they got bamboozled, and they had to start him with the Rams game. What game was that?
Niners game.
Niners game.
Because
yeah.
Kendall Lamb gets COVID at the very last moment. Roger Saffold's out. Taylor Lewan is out. And we're sitting here like, oh, my God, Nick Bosa is about to line up.
No, I was going, oh, my God, they have to start ratings. Because they got me scared to even put him out there. Like, he hadn't played all season. I mean, what?
He had been inactive, and then he played left tackle against the 49ers in Bosa.
And I bet he didn't even practice left tackle that week. He might have practiced both.
He walked through. That's probably about it.
Man. And I said, hey, man, they putting this guy in a tough spot.
And he held up.
I would have worn.
That's right. The Rams was the guy. Remember, they put some other dude that wasn't even drafted or anything out there against the Rams. And he may have gave up a couple sacks, but he did a solid job.
Oh, Bobby Hart.
They
Bobby
cut him.
Hart, Roberto, who
Right.
finished the season on another team.
Yeah, I think it was
Bobby
the Bills.
Hart.
Wow.
Yeah,
Bills, I think.
he finished with the Bills.
But
that's a good pull. Bobby
And
Hart.
he didn't do great, but he didn't stink it up.
He wasn't a turnstile.
And I was like, they put him out there before ratings?
That's when we knew there was a problem.
I
Remember?
said, uh-oh, this is somebody made a boo-boo, and I mean emoji boo-boo splatter. That's not supposed to happen. I've never seen anything like that before. I remember I was on Titans radio. I said, hey,
they signed that dude off the street, too.
Yeah, he must not be showing any signs of progress. And I kept going back to the preseason, but he didn't look horrible in the preseason. I know it's preseason, but he looked like, okay, I'm a fight you. I don't question his toughness.
Yep.
And I'm not a O-line expert at all. But hey, man, you gotta roll this guy out here. At some point, we gotta reap the rewards on the money and collateral we spent to draft this guy.
Yeah. Let's get Andrew in. He's got an idea for 26th pick. Andrew, what do you could talk to John Robinson. What are you not going to do at 26?
I'm not going to take somebody that cannot contribute day one.
Yes.
We have not had somebody in the first round contribute day one, and I don't know when. So my pick, if you're going to take somebody at 26, it better be on the field for the first play of the first game of the season.
So, like, no injured guys.
No backup quarterback.
No backup quarterback, huh?
Nope, neither. If you're going to get a backup quarterback, I've been talking about it since this morning. I like what you were talking about, Blaine. I have no problem taking a flyer on Baker Mayfield if you can get him for a Tannehill-style deal to push Tannehill, because if Tannehill's the guy, he's going to be the guy, whether Baker's behind him or not. But no backup quarterback, no ACL dude. I need somebody that can be on the field and that can finally show us that J-Rob knows how to draft like he used to when he hit in 2019. So that's what I would do, fellas.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. And what that tells me, if they do draft a player that starts day one, is that they're all in. They know this may be it of the run of this nucleus. We're going all in. If they go and not draft one that can, contribute immediately in the first round, I'll go, well, wait a minute. Are they building for the future? Because this is it.
Yeah.
With Tannehill and King, because you don't know how he's going to come back. You could talk about all you want to. We don't know if he's going to be the same King. I would assume he will be, based off his Instagram post or someone's Instagram post.
People are posting pictures of him working out. Yeah.
I'm sure that's the people where he trains at that posted that, because you
know,
can't
he
get
was
that
like,
close
get my
to
good
him.
side here. Yeah.
Get me on swole at the end of my workout, lifting, one arm is lifting Lucas, the other arm is lifting Mickey.
Yes.
I'm not that heavy.
Man,
85-pound dumbbells.
Ooh, man. Hey, man, I'm going to tell you this right now. There was never a time that I was lifting 85-pound dumbbells. I think I tried to do one rep at 100 and I did it. And I was like, that's good. I did it. I can say
he makes them look like 10-pound dumbbells.
Yeah, right. That's the kicker. Yes. It look easy like Wheezy.
Is there a super no for you, Lucas? Because I lean towards the last caller about it has to be an immediate contributor. And as much as I love Jamison Williams or maybe Mechie later in the draft, maybe John Mechie later because he's not a first-round guy. And he injured his ACL. He injured his like a full month earlier. So maybe him later, but not at 26. The question is 26. Do you have any definitive
Oh,
no.
I do. What position?
I think I'm still going to say quarterback.
Yep. See, that's where I'm going.
I just have such a hard time reconciling with getting your first draft pick that's going to supposedly help you on the field this year at pick number 90. That I have a hard time wrapping my head around that. For me, it's trade back or don't get a quarterback at 26.
I'm pretty much sure that's why we came up with the stat. I don't want a quarterback.
Did the stat hurt?
It just confirmed everything that I thought may have been. I do not want a quarterback at 26.
Yeah, I've been on the fence with it because we've heard a lot about Desmond Ridder, and it seems like he would be a good fit. You don't get it. Not every day you get a prospect comparing himself to Tannehill on whose game he tries to match. But yeah, what you just ran through with that recent history of late first round QBs, and this quarterback class is weaker than a lot of those quarterback classes were. So. Yeah, I'm probably not comfortable with it.
And everything checks the box except accuracy. So you gonna work elongated throw accuracy. So we're gonna work on that all off season. Well, guess what? It may not be an off season or a season where he can sit and wait. You don't know what's gonna happen with Tannehill. I have no idea.
You know me, I'm huge on accuracy. Like that's a big thing for me.
Not the biggest arm, it's accuracy. That's why I applaud Josh Allen for doing what he's doing now, because he was a big arm guy. Someone who's worked with him, he made huge strides second and third year, man, and then his talent just took over.
To me, he's like we've talked about this. He's the one guy that was inaccurate in college and came to the pros and got more accurate. That never happens.
Well, he had more free time. He didn't have to go to class.
Boy,
he was going to.
He got out of that Wyoming wind.
Well, see, that could have had something to do with it.
Oh, it's windy in Buffalo, though. He's up there playing in those conditions.
Oh, well, he got a rocket arm, though.
He has a rocket.
Oh, no.
He can run.
I have to say, he has way over the top achieved where I thought he could go. His talent tells you, and this is why they take flyers, not just quarterbacks, but on talented players. They feel like they can get everything else together and work with them and figure it out. And his talent did. I didn't think he would have this much. He had a rocket arm. You didn't know where that ball was going when he came out. But he had a rocket launcher, and he was a great athlete.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, well, we can work around this. So that got Dayball, a head coach at the Giants, right? Is that his name? The offensive coordinator was at Alabama.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They did phenomenal. They made huge strides with him over the last 2 or 3 years.
He's been an unbelievable story, that's for sure. All right, one more segment coming up. I'll give my no's. You want to weigh in, Mark Spain Real Estate. What's my no at 26? I'll tell you. 615-737-1045 at Blaine and Mickey on Twitter or the Zone TV chat. Also, Thomas wants to weigh in next. We'll get to Thomas. We'll also try to get, I think it's Tryon who wants to talk a little bit of Tannehill. But phones are ringing. We'll take these questions as long as we can coming up next.
No running back.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. I'll get to my nose at 26. Like, what would I not do at 26 if I was the Titans? But let's get
I thought you were talking about your nose.
my nose at 26. Let's get Thomas and Carl. They wanted to weigh on this next. Thomas from White House on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Thomas, what's going on, man?
What's happening?
Hey, guys. So I agree with some of the other callers. I think we got to have somebody that's going to play right away this year. But I got 2 picks that I would love to see us get, and I think that's Treylon Burks for, the reason that we might not have AJ in a couple of years. But if he's not there, I'd love to see them draft the Lindbaum guy out of Iowa and anchor down that line for the next 10 years. So
the center.
I'll hang up and listen.
The center / guard.
Yep. Both those would be good picks, I think.
The center, he's the number 1 center on the board, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's the guy.
That'd be great value there at 26. I don't know, there's something about his style. I've been watching him a little bit. He's kind of got some short arms.
Mm-hmm.
You know who he reminds me of, though, who had maybe even a Hall of Fame career, but, there was a quarterback behind him that was really helpful named Manny. Jeff Saturday. That's kind of what he looks like to me when I watch him play, who he had a phenomenal career. So if he could be somewhere close to that, I think we'd take that.
Boy, not the biggest guy, Jeff Saturday.
That's kind of how I see this guy. This guy's a little bit bigger than him, but the way he moves and his arm length and everything else just kind of, you always say, I like him to be a little bit longer there, but he's got some meanness, nastiness, and some quickness to him. You go, whoa, well, that's pretty special.
Boy, that's Jeff Saturday. I'm sure anybody would be like, yeah, we'll take him. That's good. Carl, in the Burrow, what would you not do with the 26th pick, Carl?
First thing, not draft anybody that's been injured. Like the last 2 drafts, you can't miss on this first-round pick. We need a stud corner because of everything that's happened in the AFC. We need defense. We need a stud corner. Go with what we got. I hope Farley works out to be something good. I don't know. But Burks would be great. If you can't get Burks at 26, I've been saying trade back to get more picks. We need more players that are going to impact the field now. So like I said, a stud corner or trade back. And I'll listen to y'all at the air.
I appreciate it.
Anybody in mind? Nope.
He's gone.
I know.
He's
I
gone.
wonder if he had anybody. It's hard to say who will be available, of the highly graded cornerbacks. I like this one scrappy guy from Pittsburgh. It's Jamar. I can't remember his name. His number's 21. But he look. I don't think he's a first rounder, by the way. But I was like, hey, this guy looks pretty good.
Scrappy cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This guy, and Pittsburgh has a history of putting NFL defensive backs in the National Football League. So whoever's coaching them up there, they always got some underrated DBs that get in the league and you say, oh, where'd he go? Pittsburgh. We're like, dang. Yeah.
There's a bunch of dudes from Pittsburgh that make the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
For them to not, be more of a 10, 11, 12 win team than what they seem to be, there's always dudes from Pittsburgh who seem to be making it. We got one more phone call. It's Tryon in Brentwood. I think he wanted to weigh in, change the discussion just a little bit about Tannehill. Then I'll share my nose at 26. What you got?
Hey, guys, good to be with you. Couple of things I think now, and this is when you make these kind of mistakes that the Titans have made, this is what you wind up happening. When you make a mistake on Julio, you misevaluate that, you misevaluate Clowney, you misevaluated Tannehill from the start. You never should have gave him that $90 million guaranteed over 3 years. I mean, that AFC title run, I said it then, that was way about Derrick Henry, the best running back in football, and you've had him the last few years. He's the reason why you've been elite and in the midst in the AFC. But clearly the writing's on the wall, The Baltimore loss, he was awful. The Cincinnati loss, he was awful. Teams now know they're going to go in this year knowing we can take out Henry just by putting 8-9 in the box and force Tannehill to beat us, and he can't. So due to the mistakes you've made, you kind of got to enter this by planning kind of one eye toward the future because Tannehill's not going to get you nothing this year. So you better come out of whether it's the draft, whether it's somehow free agency, which I don't see one. You got to kind of get somebody in the system with an eye on, can this guy be the next guy after Tannehill? Because the window's over. At best this year, you're one and done. At best. That's being kind because I think teams are now going to load up what Baltimore and Cincy's done in the last 2 playoff losses and take Henry away and say, be the Tannehill, and he can't because he was overrated from the start. He never should have been offered that contract and paid that. You paid him like he was an elite quarterback, and he wasn't, and he never was. So due to the mistakes you've made, I think you now kind of got to look toward the future and go, let's try to get us a quarterback in the draft that we like, that maybe we can, by next year, is ready to be in the system and ready to start. But it's over with Tannehill. People just keep trying to.
Who do you think they should get if it's a quarterback? Anybody you want to?
If it's a obviously the guy from Liberty keeps popping up. The Pickett kid from Pittsburgh, I don't know. Maybe Corral from Ole Miss. But you got to do something, Blaine.
Try
Tannehill, man. Everybody keep being kind about this year. No, there's nothing. It's over for him.
Thank you, Tryon.
It's
a lot
over
going
for
on
him.
there.
Well, there's a lot to be said about the season. But one thing I do agree with them is, and I keep talking about this a little bit, is they need to tweak their offense and throw a little bit more than they run, because that's going to bear down the road in the playoffs and help you be confident, Tannehill, to make the plays when he has to in the playoffs, and it helps him. Because the more you do something as an athlete, the more comfortable you feel, the more success you will have. And that's kind of what I believe. The more you do something, the more it'll then be just automatic. But then you put him in a game and all of a sudden he hadn't been the focal point at any point in time during the season, really, to carry your team by throwing the football. Then he gets in the moment, then he's going to start pressing and try to force things. Unbeknown to him, he's just trying to run the offense, but he's trying to force it. First of all, he shouldn't have thrown the third wide receiver, in my mind, and then just take what the defense gives you. Ferguson was running right across the middle for a first down. See, so that shows you, the thought process of him. I think he's capable, but you got to put him where he's comfortable. I'm different than, you got to get the pieces around him. The pieces are going to be there. The pieces were there last year. He had enough.
Especially for that playoff game. It's the healthiest they've been, as crazy as it is to say.
He had enough. So you just got to make him feel and believe that he can get it done, and that starts the process in training camp and throwing the football a little bit more than you have. You got to believe it, because King can't carry you. He can't carry you. Never in the playoffs. Maybe one game, but not all the way to the Super Bowl.
You can hit us anytime with more info on this at Blaine and Mickey on Twitter. I am not taking an injured person, no matter who it is at 26.
Ooh, I'm with you.
I'm not taking anybody injured, and I'm not taking a little receiver at 26. If I take anybody little and like super, super fast and small, it's going to be somewhere on down the line. No little dudes there, even though I am a little dude. Time for a big dude and a regular dude and Babs to come do it. 3HL coming up next.
Somebody in the building. In the meantime, in between time, peace.
He's here.